not yet crossed into the Holy Land. Masei opens with a list of the 42 sites where the Israelites set up camp along their journey through the wilderness. I'm going to pull up a screen share with excerpts from the beginning of Masei. I'll chant the Hebrew on the first slide and then invite a volunteer to read aloud for us in the English. Eile Masei b'nei Yisrael asher yatzeu me'eretz Mitzrayim litzvotam b'yad Moshe ve'Aharon vayichtov Moshe et motzaehem lemasehem al pi Adonai ve'ele masehem lemotzaehem. Will someone bless us with the English here?
These were the marches of the Israelites who started out from the land of Egypt, troop by troop, in the charge of Moses and Aaron. Moses recorded the starting points of their various marches as directed by God. Their marches by starting points were as follows.
Beautiful. And Mary Rita, will you continue in the English on the next slide?
They set out from Ramses in the first month on the 15th day of the first month. It was on the morrow of the Passover offering that the Israelites started out defiantly in plain view of all the Egyptians. The Israelites set out from Ramses and encamped at Sukkoth. They set out from Sukkoth and encamped at Etham, which is on the edge of the wilderness.
Thank you, Mary Rita. So this is the beginning of a very long litany of different places where the Israelites camped along their journey, which really begs the question, we've been ostensibly desperate to get to this Holy Land for 40 years in the desert. And now we're finally on the threshold. We're almost there. Why are we going to stop to go through this entire list of 42 different places where we stopped along the way? Now, the Baal Shem Tov of blessed memory teaches that like the 42 journeys that the Israelites took between campsites in the wilderness, every soul has 42 journeys from birth until death, and each one has unique significance. The process is as important as the destination, and each leg of the trip offers the necessary opportunity for growth that prepares us for the next one. So we have the choice to honor and appreciate our past experiences, even the gnarly ones, for delivering us to this present moment and the new thresholds of growth that beckon us. The Zohar tells us that the 42 journeys recounted in Parshat Masei correspond to the mysterious 42-letter name of God, referenced by Rav Yehuda in the Talmud. And the 42-word mystical prayer of Ana B'Koach, which is an incantation to release what is bound and tangled within us and around us, is said to be an acrostic containing this elusive ancient 42-letter name of the divine. Rabbi Shefa Gold writes, "It is more than a strange coincidence that the secret, unpronounceable name of God that can dissolve the obstacles in our lives has 42 letters. Perhaps each letter represents one stage in our journey, and the magic power of this name lies in its potential to embrace all the stages at once. It is important to remember at each stage of our journey that we will encounter some obstacle or resistance. However annoying, difficult, or devastating that obstacle is, its presence can call forth a particular power that lies hidden within us. The way in which the obstacle compels us to transform demonstrates the exact transformation our soul needs for its growth. In fact, the potentials that lie buried within us often require an appropriate challenge in order to be released and manifested. I want to share with you all now a bit about my own recent journeys, a little retrospective from the vantage point where I now sit. I spent most of the month of May traveling, first attending the Moshe retreat in person, which was glorious, and then a healing retreat that I co-organized for LGBTQ Jews, then a friend's wedding where I sang in the ceremony in Western Massachusetts, and then a week in Philadelphia recording music with a dear collaborator. I drove back from Philly with a carload of boxes I'd been storing in 3 different friends' basements since I'd moved from there to Jerusalem in 2023, and I hadn't yet gathered the wherewithal to pick them back up until this year. Many of you know, I moved to Jerusalem a mere 6 weeks before October 7th, and then less than a year later, I moved to Asheville, North Carolina, 3 weeks before the biblical floods of Hurricane Helene. So it took me another couple of years to finally make the pilgrimage back to Philadelphia and do a ritual ingathering of the exiles of all my scattered possessions. These boxes I brought back home with me contain a wide array of nostalgic items. My records, CDs, and cassette tapes, which, yes, I still have, innumerable photographs, and a huge collection of letters, journals, notebooks, drawings, and school projects from my proud K-12 career that I am still reluctant to let go of. They are souvenirs from so many stops along my journey, so many geological layers of time stacked up underneath the point where I now stand. Each layer has its own divine signature of lessons that were hidden from me at the time, but that in hindsight I can see. And when I came home to Asheville with all these layers and boxes and revelations, at the end of a transformative month of travels and co-creation, I wasn't the same person I was when I left my house at the end of April. As I schlepped box after box through the front door into a little home with next to no storage and a blessedly noisy roommate, I realized with striking clarity that it was time for me to move out. This little rental has held me so well in my landing from a string of catastrophes, and it's been an anchor. But inside these safe walls, I've still been in a form of survival mode. I suddenly felt the call of Lech Lecha, go for yourself, go to yourself, go where you do not yet know but will be shown, go where you can more fully thrive, and shed this last chapter like a skin that's become too tight. I felt beckoned to move further from West Asheville into the wilderness, the more rural outskirts, to surround myself with the love of the forest and the great mystery. Having this realization, I panicked. Was it going to be possible for me to find another place as affordable and sunny as this one? Would the friend I want to live with actually get her stuff together in time to land a new place with me for August 1st, in the middle of Mercury retrograde, no less? This proved to not be in the cards. I told my landlord and roommate I'd be out by August 1st, knowing it was my time to go, but my next home, as of today, July 11th, has still yet to be revealed. And so, just in these last 2 weeks, I decided to get a storage unit in town and to slowly move my possessions there, a bridge carrying me towards my next chapter, knowing the vague geography of where I'm headed and sensing the growth on the horizon for me, but not yet knowing the actual contours of my next home. I'll spend August at a Jewish ancestral skills gathering in Vermont making shofarot and candles, followed by a Yiddish language and klezmer music intensive in the Catskills, and a week practicing Yiddish with my beloved grandmother in the Berkshires. And then I'll return to the Asheville area, hopefully to enter a magically aligned new home, much like the Israelites standing at the threshold of Canaan. and possibly to live as a wandering Jew for a bit longer until the right place shows up in my life. I know that amidst my fears and uncertainty, as the Sfat Emet writes in his commentary on this parsha, every Jew passes through all these journeys according to what is needed for the rectification or tikkun of the soul. So somehow I know I'm on my derech, on my path, and that each step into the unknown is part of a greater process of personal and collective transformation. My friend Batya Levine, who first connected me to Rabbi Mark and brought me to the Moshe community, has coined a portmanteau of the words vulnerable and courageous. Vulnerageous. From my own perch in the spiritual wilderness to yours, I am sending blessings that we may all merit to be vulnerageous, to tenderly hold the parts of ourselves that writhe against the unknown and yearn to have it all figured out, to root ourselves deeply in love as we hearken to the call of our next phase of growth, whatever it may be, to look back with awe from whence we came, and to remember that we have always been held and will continue to be held the whole way through. Shabbat Shalom.